Okay, let me show you on this video how I do my edge banding. Now I'm going to show you two different ways. One is going to be the manual approach and the other one's going to be a router driven approach. But the first thing is my little drawers that I have here. I just pull them out, use a face frame clamp to the edge of my workbench and bang. How easy is that, right? Total stability, so easy. And then what I do is I take the tape here and I put it on my miter saw. Now as you can see here, this method works extremely well, and I find that if I want to provide a little stability and keep this piece from falling off, I'll just put a clamp right there. I don't want to include the joints, okay? Here's a joint right here. You can see this. I'll show it to you, but right now I'm going to get rid of it. So I'm just cutting it long right now, okay? And this one's going to be cut long too. Okay, if this was the size I needed, I would have made, however many I need, right? I only need one for this little job, so I'm just making one. But I would take this and just make like, 10 or whatever I need. Just unwind it, do 10 of them, and then set them down behind here. And then each one I would bring up and get it going. Now, while I've been setting everything up, my iron has been on, right? This guy has been going. So it's been heating up. And it's in the hottest setting, cotton linen. There's no water in this, it's just dry, right? Here's the key. This edge banding is, it's like 13/16 wide. So there's not a lot of cushion for, air. What we want to do is put it on so it centers it up in there. So it's about a 30-second on each side. The first thing I want to do is tack this so it doesn't move. So I'm going to heat it up and melt it. But I want to make sure that my length is good too, right? It's not just the width, but the length as well. So I'll tack this guy. It's good to go. And you can start to smell the iron. Once the iron starts to smell, you kind of know it's good. And there's a little bit of residue left on my iron. This surface is kind of coming off, but it's no problem. It just sands up. But it does look a little funny when you see black. That's not scarring. It's not burning. It's just the Teflon coating or whatever it is. So I'm just keeping it centered using my fingers. So I know that it's overlapping on both sides. And now that's nice and hot. Just come across here again. Now, this part here can be rolled out just to make it tight. So I want to be careful not to break this end. Now, usually if I'm doing this for a cabinet job, I'll actually make these pieces long and then I'll cut them to length so it cuts the edge banding perfectly with the cutting of the panel. That's the way I do it. But in this particular case, I'm just making this one, and I'm just kind of putting a little bit of pressure on the outside edge on each edge just to give it a little bit of a firm contact right on the edge. And if you find that your piece is not wanting to connect real well, most likely the glue didn't get melted enough or it dried before you started to roll it on and it came up. That last little bit, you want to make sure that you don't break it. If you roll it over, you're going to bend it. It's going to crack the edge banding and it could leave a nasty edge. So I would prefer to not do that. So I kind of just, once I hit the end, I just kind of lighten up a little bit my pressure. But all right, so this piece looks pretty good. I can feel, basically you're like feeling a burr, right? On each side. It's kind of like when you sharpen a tool, you get that burr. Well, that's kind of what I'm feeling for. So just make sure that the surface is nice and clean before you glue this on. Because if there's a wood chip in there, you're going to see a bump. Now, as far as cutting to length goes, because I'm not cutting this panel to length, it's already cut to length, I'm just going to take a knife, a razor blade, and trim this guy. They do make tools, but they're pretty expensive to cut these. And obviously if you're doing this for a living full time, you're always using this stuff, then I would obviously probably get one of those. However, like I said, generally I just cut it to length on the table saw when I cut my parts to length. So obviously trimming them first, right? I flush trim these first and then I cut them to length. To flush trim this, I can leave this just the way it is, or I can take it to the router table. I can take it to the workbench. I have lots of different options. So if I'm just going to do one piece here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to manually do it. Now the grain goes in all different directions. Okay, that's the key with this stuff. Is I don't want to use this because the grain is not going to go in the same direction. And if it does, what's going to happen is the grain could be going in this direction here, right? Just like it is. So that would be great if I was going this way. But over on this side, it's going this way. So if I do it that way, I'm going to be going against the grain and I'm going to get a bunch of tear out. This one's actually pretty good, this back side. This one, I want to go this way, this way, this way, this way, and it changes direction right here. So I could get a little tear out right there. It's possible. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in from this way, and then I'm just going to stop it right here, and then I'm going to do the rest all the way through going here. If you have one of these double-sided trimmers, for melamine it's okay all day long, right? But not for wood. Trust me on that. All right, so that cut nice. You can actually see the grain. All right, so that's good. All right. So I can see. Let's see. All right, and get to that point that I already trimmed, and that is a good clean cut all the way down. All right, now using a brand new blade, I can cut this guy. Now it's a little bit tricky, but it's very effective. Just take your time, make a few passes, and eventually you'll get it. There we go. That's a nice crisp cut. That looks pretty good. But now here's the critical thing. You got to ease this edge. So take a block, a sanding block, and just ease the edge. All right, if you just have one of these, just a normal sanding block, or one of these, check out one of my videos on how to make these. This is actually a really cool thing to use, and I just use this to ease the corner, make sure it's nice and smooth. If this isn't going to be joined up, like let's say this is a shelf or something, you definitely want to ease the end. But if this is going to be joined to another piece of wood, don't ease that, right? Otherwise it won't be square. But if there's any excess glue, I just take my fingernail and it'll pick up any glue that there might be. This stuff's a little bit unruly when you get going on there. But like I said, just use a little clamp. That usually is the best thing. If you have like a quick grip or something, just use one of those because that will help hold this guy on. And when you get to the point where you're done, I just put the tape back on. This stuff is maple, what I'm using right now. This is way more economical than buying little amounts. All right, hopefully you can see. I want to show you the basically what it is a scarf joint. So, oh, there it is. There it is. Oh yeah, that's what I don't want in my job, right? I don't want any of that. And this will show up in a stain grade job or a paint grade job, whatever it may be. I don't like it, so I just get rid of it, cut it away, and then you have a decent amount of space before the next one, right? All right, here's what I do if I've got a lot of shelves to make. I set up my router table with the flush cutting bit, spiral bit, and I raise up the fence, you could see, so that the edge banding slides right underneath. Set up a feather board tightly, and a down shear flush trim bit does a great job of flush trimming it without any tear out. So you can see sped up 4 times. This is how fast it goes. And I'm telling you, if you've got a lot of shelves to do, there is no better way. But seriously, you can see for yourself, the results are flawless. With all my parts cut oversized, after I'm done flush trimming on the router table, I'll bring it over to the crosscut sled and I will go ahead and clean up these edges here. So I'll square one end up, flush the edge banding perfectly, and then cut my part to length. So this is my preferred method, especially if I'm making a lot of shelves, but even if it's just a few. But if it's also just cabinet components themselves, you know, like sides or tops and bottoms, this is the ultimate way to get the best square cut. It's also very important to note that when I set the piece on the sled, I want to make sure that the edge banding is away from the fence to avoid tear out. Otherwise, you're going to get some tear out, and that's not going to be good. Perfect. All right, great opportunity to show you how I do my edge banding. So hopefully you guys like to watch that. Thanks again so much. Bye-bye.